It's time for the Florida State Mood Tracker tonight. Some people are saying that Florida State's the favorite to win the ACC this year. And let me take it a step further, because I've got my ear to the ground so you don't have to. Some other people are saying they may be a sneaky playoff contender. And then there's this other group that looks at that group and says, why are you calling them sneaky? No, they're just a flat-out playoff contender. And meanwhile, I'm over here saying, yeah, get them. Because it's time to do the Mood Tracker. The Mood Tracker is when we take the temperature of the fan base. And I was over on Knowles 24/7 today on the Unconquered board, which is to me, this is my opinion, that is the value proposition of having a subscription to 24/7 Sports is, number one, you get access to every single team site. And number two, like if you're an FSU fan, having access to that message board is worth its weight in gold. You got great writers over there, but on any one of these boards, there are like half a dozen to a dozen people who are close to the program who can post anonymously, and they give you all sorts of little tidbits and morsels, and quite frankly, some of the stuff that the team site guys can't report because they can't have certain people be mad at them. Hey, posters on the board can post whatever they want to within reason. That's my opinion on where the value is. For like $9 or $10 a month, I mean, that's well worth it because you're always ahead of the game. You find out that your more casual friends are talking about stuff that you've known about for a week because you got access just to the board, not even to mention all the other great things that come there. Anyway, so I'm over on that board today, and I said, I need your help. I'm doing the FSU Mood Tracker tonight. It would be greatly appreciated if you would tell me how you're feeling. And in typical Unconquered board fashion, there was a sizable portion of the reaction that was just a little bit sexual in nature. So I have sanitized it. They mean excited. A lot of them are just excited, and understandably so. But I wanted to be creative with the mood. So I took all of their ideas. They're like 7 pages deep over there now, and I appreciate that. I think the mood around the FSU program right now is what I like to call Blow, Blow, Seminole Wind, which of course is a lyric taken from the 1992 country classic by John Anderson. I presented it to producer Jesse today, and Jesse said, John Anderson, the SportsCenter anchor? And it's just for all the good that Jesse does. There is no one who delivers more crushingly disappointing statements to me on the regular than Jesse when it comes to music, when it comes to TV, when it comes to culture, I don't know. But anyway, I played the song for him, so he's at least been cultured somewhat today. John Anderson's performing at the Ryman in like 2 weeks. He's typing in the prompter right now. Be a professional. Go watch the Celtics game. So anyway, Blow, Blow, Seminole Wind is a great lyric from a country song, but it can also apply to the mood around the Florida State fan base right now. Because if you were to think just a couple of years ago, or even last year, about what a lot of people were saying about Mike Norvell, they disappeared, so they're all ghosts now. But what were they saying? Because it didn't take off like a rocket immediately, what were they saying? Oh, another swing and a miss. Another team took a chance on a G5 coach, swing and a miss. No, you're wrong. You were always wrong. It was just going to take a little while. Why did it take a little while? Because they didn't take shortcuts. They built it the right way. And to his credit, to Mike Norvell's credit, he never lied to anyone. He never led them to believe otherwise. He didn't walk in there, and he could have, on the speaking circuit, talking to boosters, saying, we're going to get this thing turned around immediately. We're going to give you a product you can be proud of in 2021. He told them. He was really upfront. Here's the rebuild. Here's what we got to do. Here's what I inherited. Here's what you do and don't know. And here's how long it's going to take. They backed away. They gave him time. And more so last year, you started to feel that wind blow a little bit more. And then you cap it in fantastic fashion. And now, lo and behold, you're a favorite or a co-favorite to win the ACC. You're in the playoff conversation, and that wind's blowing. Here's the thing about the wind that's blowing down there. It's not just a quick breeze. It's a little bit more than that because they built it the right way. And because of that, you got Florida State fans who, for the first time in a while, are feeling the kind of energy and enthusiasm that you feel when you know you've got a sustainable contender on your hands. Some of us, in our youth, knew Florida State to be that. In fact, the national championship picture, for a long time, felt incomplete without Florida State's name in there. If you're in your late 20s, certainly 30s or 40s or 50s, you know what I'm talking about. But if you're in your early 20s or your late teens, you don't know that. You know they had a year back in 2013 where they won a title, but by and large, other than that, it started to trend downward, and that was more like a blip than anything in your mind when it comes to them as a national title contender. But don't let people fool you, whether you're a Florida State fan or not. They have lied to you for a while. They have lied to you, and they've told you that the playoff has built this model where a few teams benefit and they pull away from the rest of the sport, and try as you might, you can't do anything about it. It's a lie. It's always been a lie. Like LSU in 2019. Did it hold them back? No. Why did it hold them back? Because they had players who were good enough to win. The end. Michigan, has it held them back? No. Because they develop, they put their guys in position to succeed, and they've been good enough to win. Florida State, the sport hadn't held them back. They've held themselves back. And now they are putting together pieces to get back on track. Wind's blowing a little bit harder. And all of a sudden, Florida State's right smack dab back in the middle of national championship conversations, and they may validate that this year. And yet again, you'll see another brand resurrected. They're back at the party. And yet again, you'll look around and say, well, these people lied to me. They told me that if you weren't already at the table in the playoff era, you couldn't make your way over there. Yes, you can. Yet you just got to take care of your business. Yes, you can. It's always been an excuse to suggest otherwise. Tennessee's been terrible for a long time. They've been bad for a long time. All of a sudden, they're not anymore. Did the playoff era hold them back, or did Tennessee hold them back? Same thing with Florida State. So this year's a pivotal year. Week one's a pivotal week one. Not a must-win. Saw somebody talking about the Jets today in the New York market. Week one of an NFL season. Week one's a must-win. Like the Jets can lose 42-3 in week one and be fine. But even in college football, it's not a must-win in week one. But for all the expectation, sure would be nice to knock off LSU again, wouldn't it? Because then we just look at the ACC schedule, and the next thing on your mind, if you're an FSU fan or just a national fan, is they're playing at Clemson in week 4, aren't they? And let me just paint you a picture, okay? As you're looking at the schedule on the screen right now, or if you're not, if you're listening on podcast, the LSU game and the Clemson game, they're both in September. After that, there is not another game on that schedule that you'll look at and view Florida State as anything other than a favorite in. I don't know how the season will actually pan out, but when I start running off Vatech, Cuse, Duke, Wake, Pitt, Miami, North Alabama, at Florida at the end of the year, if they've beaten FSU or LSU, if they've beaten Clemson, especially if they've beaten both of them, you don't expect them to lose again. So if you're out there and you're wondering where all this hype's coming from, and you're wondering where these playoff whispers are coming from, that's where they're coming from, because that's feasible. And even if they drop one of those games, they win the rest of them, they're right there in the conversation. It's feasible. Jordan Travis is back this year. Verse defensively came back this year. They got another good transfer portal haul. So there's no division in this conference this year either. So it's not going to be one of those cases where just because they happen to be on the wrong side of the fence, if they drop the game to Clemson, they're locked out of the title game. No, not anymore. It's not the way it works. The ACC had the good sense to do what the Big Ten should have done yesterday, and that is get rid of the division format like the Pac-12 did. Put the two best teams in the conference title game. Is Florida State going to be one of those two best teams? Preseason, it sure looks like it. Postseason, wouldn't shock me if it looks the same way. But yeah, they're excited down there. And unlike some of you out there who have false excitement, they should be excited.